Good morning, and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. This week we have been looking at Christmas carols you've never heard of and exploring their texts together. A couple of times this week I have been really struck by a hymn we were talking about, and since I had never heard it, I went to Jim and asked him to play it. Something like that happened with today's hymn. Jim and I were talking about this week of Pastor Gary Live moments, and I happened to mention one I was considering, and he said, "Oh yes, actually the congregation has heard it. Desiree, one of our choral scholars, has done it at least twice. However, usually it was during communion or sometime when something else was going on." Well, that might explain why I had never noticed it. Most often I don't hear the music during Holy Communion at all. The hymn is "Midnight Stars Make Bright the Skies," hymn 280 in our hymnal. And before I tell you why I'm presenting it to you today, let me go ahead and give you the simple text. Midnight stars make bright the skies, Bethlehem in slumber lies. Glistening heaven sends forth a great light, shepherds see a wondrous sight. Angels ranks in chorus sings, silken sounds from heaven ring. Frightened shepherds hear them say, Christ is born on earth today. Glory be to God on high, blessed are all beneath the sky. Midnight slumber lies o'er all, one lone bright lamp lights the stall. Choose old clothing, wrap him warmly, manger shall his cradle be. Born to save us from our sin, Word made flesh our lives to win, came to earth from heaven's throne, mortals' sin to bear alone. Glory be to God on high, blessed are all beneath the sky. Now, what is unique about this hymn is that it was originally written in Mandarin and is in fact presented that way in our hymnal along with the English translation. The hymn, "O Little Town of Bethlehem," gives a Western view of Bethlehem lying still and asleep as Jesus is born. This hymn gives us an Asian view of the same theme. This is apparently one of the most famous and popular Christmas carols in China. I present this hymn to you today to remind us that Jesus is not ours exclusively. Jesus was born for all people and all places and all times. And most often we picture Jesus like we are. It helps us feel closer and affirms that Jesus came to be one with us. So in China, in Africa, in India, and elsewhere, they can do that too. There are hints at the Chinese origin and culture in the text. There are references to silk and wrapping the baby Jesus in old clothes. Nevertheless, even though the culture may be different, the theme of Jesus coming to save us is prominently there throughout the hymn, as is the Bible story of angels and shepherds and a manger. And when it refers to one bright light shining in the stable, I'm not sure if it means a lantern to see by or the singular light of Christ who has come into the world. As we wrap up this week of looking at Christmas carols you've never heard, I think it's good to remember and to remind ourselves Jesus doesn't belong to us. We belong to him. Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.